Fixed star Albireo, the Swan. Notice the image of the star in the middle of the picture here. It's like a double image of the star. There's like two, one behind the other. Dr. Mullen will explain the details of that as she discusses this in the video. Also, Flammarion's picture above of the fixed stars is depicting when in the Middle Ages people were concerned about where the earth and the sky met. And in other words, where did they touch? And so this was kind of an image of that, but it pays attention to the sun and the fixed stars as an element of the universe that we observe. Also, you'll notice the pictures of the location in the universe of where Albireo is located by the arrows in the two pictures that you observe. You'll notice that the Swan formation of stars, the Cygnus, is where it is located in the universe. It's like the Big Dipper. This is a swan instead. Dr. Mullen will explain in detail the ideas about how this swan image came about, but also the importance and implications of the fixed star Albireo in our astrological lives. Now we will listen to Dr. Mullen's lecture.
I'm Dickie Jo Mullen, hello, and this is a special astrological study of a fixed star to include in your birth chart and to look at how the effects might be in the world around us. The fixed star is far, far away. The fixed stars go back to the earliest astrological studies, and they predate the houses of the zodiac, going way back to the Middle Ages. The very early astrological texts are references to brilliant stars, and they're so far away. Some are hundreds of light years, the amount of time it takes light traveling at 186 miles a second, 1,000 miles a second to reach us. It's just a mind-boggling how far away they are, and yet you'll see they seem to have quite a strong effect on us. And so, looking at a choice of one of the many, many fixed stars, we have others here in our series, I was very drawn to go with the fixed star Albireo. This is a double or binary star. It's currently located at about 1 degree Aquarius, 40 minutes. Fixed is a bit of a misnomer. The stars actually do drift, but ever so slowly, less than a degree in a whole century. And while they're there, they affect people for a long period of time, but then as society evolves, as we move forward on the planet, their influences will change. So right now, Albireo is located, can you believe, 430 light years away from the Earth, and it looks small and faint to us, but it's actually 230 times brighter than our own sun. So it's a familiar force way out there in the universe. It appears as the brightest star in the constellation Cygnus, or the Swan. Close observation with a really good telescope will reveal the binary quality, and that's that it's actually two stars that orbit around each other. The larger star is a topaz yellow star, and then the smaller, dimmer side of Albireo is a sapphire blue star. So this double star forms the head of a swan, and it's often described as the jewel in the bird's beak. Esoteric astrologers have related Albireo. The name is derived from the Greek word ornis, to a song, the dying swan. It has the nature of Venus combined with Mercury. This gives Albireo the qualities of idealism, refinement, gentility, readiness, and beauty. It's said to bring beneficence in spite of despair when it's active in a horoscope. Throughout the year 2024, Pluto, as it enters Aquarius, is going to be within transiting the orb of Albireo for most of the year. Remember, Albireo is at 1 full degree, 40 minutes. And remember, all of your math is done in base 6 in astrology, not base 10. So it's closer to 2 degrees of Aquarius if you're placing it. And so the influences are quite strong all year. It's going to intertwine with any events charts that we look at this year, like the ingresses, solstices, full moons, important political events. We'll talk maybe about the U.S. president's election, maybe not, later on. But Albireo affects it very strongly. And the natal charts of any children born this year are going to be affected by this star. For anybody who is born near January 20th of any year, you have Albireo conjunct your sun in your natal chart. Notable nativities, famous people who are influenced by this star always include Nikki Haley, a prominent governor, and also Buzz Aldrin, prominent in the space program, Kellyanne Conway, prominent political figure, and the controversial Bill Maher. So all of those people have Albireo conjunct the sun. Now, if you happen to have been born near January 20th and you don't like those people, don't worry. Unless you were born right at the same year and place and time, it'll have a different meaning, a different twist to it. But do look at anything at 1 to 2 degrees of Aquarius to understand this prominent star. Let's go over the sun and the moon, those are the luminaries, and all of the planets as they fall in conjunction with this really important and intriguing star. With the moon, if you happen to have your moon near the beginning of Aquarius, this gives you good health and good longevity. It represents honor, a happy home, and playful social interactions. You'll have a lot of friends. You might do well as a super salesman. Some of those people who've never met a stranger who walk into a room. I have a client who sells toys. He's a professional toy salesman, and the first time he came to see me, he was wearing a teddy bear and wearing a suit coat, and I thought, this is going to be a really interesting reading, and it was. And then I tried to look at his chart afterward to see where could I have predicted that he would walk in wearing a teddy bear and his lapel and looking really serious, because he was very serious about his business. And then I realized that it was the moon near Albireo that was doing that. With the sun, if you are born at this time, right around January 20th, give or take a day or so, gifts, legacies, and helpful friends will help you on your way. If you should have the planet Mercury in your own birth chart, right in early Aquarius, you'll be very popular. You're okay with conformity. You're okay with playing by the rules. Music and art appreciation can be important in your life. Venus, the star here shows you're quite materialistic, and I don't want to criticize that. We all need X amount to survive, but you might be much more materialistic than you realize. There's a love of fancy clothing, pleasure-seeking, expensive vacations, and again, art and music. That's Venus right near the 1 point, maybe 2 degrees or so of Aquarius. If you have Mars there, you're quite extroverted. You walk into a room and all the attention is on you. There's a love of ease, luxury. You can seem a little bit superficial or insincere to those who don't understand you. If you happen to have Mars right on 1, maybe up to 2 degrees or so of Aquarius. I'm mentioning the degrees because the orb, the sphere of variation from a perfect degree, is very small with the stars. Some authorities say it has to be right on the degree. I don't use any more than 3 degrees maximum, and that's if there's other mitigating factors to strengthen it. So you're safe using, say, 2 degrees. So since we are looking at approximately 1.5, a little more than that, degrees of Aquarius for Albireo, you're looking up to 2.5, maybe back to the very end of Capricorn to see how it affects you. So Jupiter, if you have Jupiter in that part, social advancement, success, and a strong religious outlook are likely to characterize you. If you have Saturn there, you'll be studious, serious, reserved, but you might have a stressful, messed up home life. With Uranus there, and Uranus is important because, of course, it rules Aquarius, you'll be timid, you might have very good psychic ability, you might study the occult, but you'll be very economical and frugal. Neptune there, you're easily influenced, led by others, a visionary, but there can be some tendency to be addiction prone. Pluto, which is the babies born this year, all of them will have Albireo there, but otherwise Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius since the Revolutionary War. So it's interesting to look at how long some of these planetary periods are. Energetic, sharp mind, prefers an independent business, being self-employed, an unconventional career direction. We'll have to see how the young ones born this year grow up. But prepare for that because that's quite a strong conjunction. This is Dickie Joe in Orlando, Florida. The swans are our symbol here in Orlando. And we have wonderful swans around the big park that's downtown, Lake Eola Park. If you visit here, they say everyone comes to Orlando eventually. Try to see the swans, meditate on them, and see if that helps to tuning in to what you get from this fixed star. Because sometimes when you get the animal and other symbols related to the different celestial and cosmic truths can be helpful.
Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen, astrologer, psychic, and parapsychologist. Dr. Mullen provides the following services: astrology, psychic, rune, and tarot card readings, face-to-face and Zoom readings and seances, and webinars and face-to-face presentations. Thank you for watching. Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen can be contacted at her skymaiden@juno.com email address. She also has a Facebook page, which she invites you to view, and her WordPress site, where she has additional resources.